My charm is not meant to work on those it isn't meant for. So therefore, the ability to accept rejection as divine redirection and to land safely in your home where you recognize yourself and you do not base it off of someone's response or reaction to you. It is a slight acceptance of understanding you are not meant for everyone and everyone is not meant for you. Maybe for a reason, maybe through real life experience, maybe through your own reactions and responses and the things that you resonate and also really just hold. You refine yourself, your art, your presence. You pay yourself the time. You give yourself that presence so you can experience and process your emotions and finally release something that's a far deeper level of yourself. That is depth, that is healing, that is acceptance, that is shadow work. You dive into the things you don't like or repress or that started to fade. Maybe even afraid. And you reach a point where you're finally rejoicing in the company you keep and the frequency that you vibrate at. So that no matter what comes your way, you are now resilient enough. This is integrity. It takes discipline. It takes practice. Sometimes you need to learn and forgive and kind of forget. Because it'll find you again when it needs to be found. When something that keeps coming up so frequently to the point you think that you're freaking out. Or you're fucking crazy. And it just keeps popping up and then you respond differently. And now the stimulus isn't there. It's not instant gratification. It's dysregulation. The dismal nature of discriminating and pitting yourself against people and finding difference to be something that's of disapproval, simultaneously not being disappointed in others or even yourself, because expectation is that need to control when it's not that you necessarily even want it. It's almost like a primal part of the person, and you start to really pinpoint what really pisses you off. When you see pain reflected in front of you so evidently, and your response is to inflict more pain, that is when you know hurt people. Truly do believe that. And it's this unfolding where you really start to see your progress. Finally, when you step away from this pressure that you put on yourself and maybe even other people, and of course you get disappointed. Of course you feel the disapproval because you're putting yourself into that place, because you realize that is me almost becoming a victim to my own reality, when in reality you get to access any part of yourself at any fucking moment. It's a choice. It's not a habit. It's not something that you can just condition yourself to do, because unless you're living on autopilot, like some people fucking do that, and I don't understand. I don't want to understand. I don't want to live my life feeling like it's okay to look down on people, to inflict harm physically, mentally, emotionally. I don't want to be that kind of person when I fully well enough know what it feels like in my own person. It took a long fucking time. It took 5 years emotionally. I feel like there's other parts that are still in progress. Physical level. Mentally, I feel like mentally it's the easiest. It's the simplest. because you release control. You can't control air. Air is the most uncontrolled. It can be artificially stimulated with inanimate things and animate things. That is where you start to discover. That is where you expand yourself. Because now, when you can understand your own grief to an extent, right? Because I am still alive and I get to experience that. So who knows what the fuck is gonna happen in this life? Seriously. And I said this, pretty sure, in my last video. I think my only selfish wish is that I don't live too long. And whatever that means for you, maybe. I am asking for help in the one thing that I've never asked for help in, because I know that that's the silent cry. Deep down, it's the silent cry. The one thing you don't talk about, the one thing you don't do. And that's where I always feel that life is so cyclical, because you come back to it, but kind of in a renewed sense. It's like you build resistance to it, but it can also be something that's healing. You don't have to be so afraid of catching something. But in reality, you can also deal with the cold. You can deal with the new variation. That is what we are built for, innately. That is what we are built for, innately, is this power in your presence. And that's why our words do affect people. Our words do affect people, and the things that we do and the way that we behave. And I feel like I'm really starting to learn that, is that I can unknowingly cause harm. And I'm not saying this to like make this a lot harder for myself, but it is also understanding that I feel harm from other people as well. And for me to even physically show that makes me like slightly uncomfortable to admit, is that it's unfamiliar to recognize that and to say something about it, but also to stand by my own standards and maintain that respect with my boundaries. And that's how you discover a little bit more about what you value, what you believe, and what you have faith in, how you build trust with yourself. That's just something that I feel, at least. So, agree to disagree? I don't know. That is the video. Once again, this is a video log. If you've made it here, thank you so much for being here and allowing me the space to speak. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being alive. Seriously. And I'm sending you so much love and support on your own spiritual